So this is the TPU, or thermoplastic polyurethane shift knob I printed, I don't know, was it a year ago? And I finally got around to permanently installing it. One of the problems I had with the TPU, unlike the previous one that I did in ABS plastic, I was able to glue the threaded tube in there. So I have this tube with M12 by 125 thread to screw onto the shift lever in my Toyota, and then it was set up for like a 9/16 inch or 14 millimeter smooth bore hole, so I needed to basically glue this tube inside. I think I tried some Loctite retaining compound that I used on the ABS, and it worked fine, but it didn't seem to work on this. It just came loose, started spinning. So what I did was I tightened this down fully on the shifter so the tube was tight, and then I rotated the knob around so it was facing the right way, and then I put a mark here on the bottom of the shifter and a little bit of a mark on the tube so I could line these up. And then I went and chucked this up in my lathe. What I did was took a little butane torch and I pulled the shift knob off, and I heated up the end of the tube until it was pretty hot. It started turning a light straw color, and it was smoking from burning off the retaining compound and whatever oils were on the tube. So I got that pretty smoking hot, and then I just slid the shift knob down, kind of wiggled it back and forth as I went, and I was able to get it down probably another ½ inch. There used to be about an inch of tube sticking out, and I kept pushing it in until it stopped going in any farther, and I think that now makes it pretty tight in there. You see the knob doesn't spin on the tube anymore, so I'm hoping that'll be pretty solid. And then what I did was I spent ½ hour or so running a file over this, used the half round over here and the flat side over here, got that knocked down a bit, and then I went with I had a sanding block here with some coarse belt sander paper on it. Used that, and then I had some emery cloth, used that, got it pretty well smoothed down. It's not perfectly smooth. The filament I used, I think, had a little bit of moisture in it. Some of it came out really nice and tight, and other places there were voids in the surface. But actually I like that, because this is going in a 39 going on 40-year-old truck, and I want this to look like it's 40 years old. The original shifter looked about like this. It was cracked and had a lot of wear and tear from all the years, so I don't want a shiny shift knob in there. I want something that looks like it's been there for 40 years. Use some drywall mud to fill in the holes. With the TPU, you don't get really nice lettering, so it's not super good on the lettering, but at least you can see the shift pattern. Got the R in there, and then I hit it with a little bit of fixative spray. This is kind of a flat, clear coating that I put on the ABS one that I did. Yeah, so I used the shift knob in the truck for a couple of days after I had sanded it relatively smooth, and I didn't quite like the feel. It felt sticky, the way like a rubberized coating on stuff gets kind of that sticky feeling after a while, and you have to wipe it down with some cleaner to get the stickiness out of it. And this was sticky to begin with, so I just didn't like the feel of it in my hand. For quite a while now, about 10 years, I've been running shellac on my bicycle handlebar tape. So I have the cloth tape and then coat that with shellac, and I really like that. It's really a nice relatively durable finish. It feels nice. It's still got grip to it, but it's a little bit, glossy. It's not, a fine glossy finish or anything, but I do like the feel of it, and it's really easy to maintain. So you can either wipe it down with some alcohol and just wipe it off, or just brush on some new shellac and you restore the finish. It dissolves the old finish if you get a scratch in it. Anyway, I need to re-shellac my handlebars on my bike, but I figured I'd give this guy one more coat. So this, I think, has 2 coats of shellac on there, and I just brush it on. One nice thing I like with the shellac is it dries just super fast, and it's not like super aggressive. It's not going to attack the material. It's got the alcohol base, but it's not it's not like an oil paint or something that's going to maybe be hard to remove. I mean, if I don't like this in a year, I just get a rag with some alcohol and just wipe it off. It goes on really quick. It dries in maybe 10 minutes. I just brush it on and there, I'm done. So I'm just going to let this dry, and then I need to go out and re-shellac my bicycle handlebars. But I think this will do the trick. I liked the feel of it before I sanded it, but it was rough. I guess when you 3D print the TPU filament, it kind of gets a glossy surface on it. Even though it was rough, it still had that glossy surface. But once I sanded it smooth, you sand through that gloss surface and you get to the more dull interior material. And so I'm not sure if it was just the basic material was the stickiness, or if it was that art spray that I tried putting on it. I put that on the ABS shift knob, and that worked great. I mean, it was just perfect for that. It just shined it up a little bit, gave it a little bit of gloss, but not too much. Like this, I like the distressed finish. This thing looks like it's been used for decades, and I mean, the truck is coming up on 40 years old, and I don't want some nice shiny chrome plated thing in there. I want it to look like this has been there from the factory. I find it to be a fairly durable finish. It does wear out, but then you just brush on some more. You don't have to sand it or strip it or do anything. You just brush some more on, and over time it gradually builds up a little bit thicker finish, but then it wears off, and then you put some more on. So yeah, I think I'm going to run the shift knob with a shellac finish, and I think that might be the right combination for this TPU filament, and then having the tube pushed farther in there. So I think the tube goes up to about this point in the shift knob, so it should be a lot more firm without having that flex, because before I just had the tube into the bottom part here. It probably went in about that far. In hot weather, the knob would kind of bend a little bit. I did drive it last week and it felt okay with the shellac, so I figured I'd just give it one more coat here. So I think that's 3 coats that I put on. Got some character to it and functions, and it dampens all the shifter noise that I was getting before. So it works as well as the factory one, but it's in one piece. The factory knob that I had in there just broke. It was 2 pieces at least. The top part had broken off. It had a crack all the way through it. The rubber had just basically died over the years. So yeah, if this one fails in 10 years, I can just print another one. So yeah, I just thought I'd give you that update. A little bit of shellac on sanded TPU filament. Seems to be a nice combination. So if you have any questions, post up in the comments section below. I'll put a link to the original video in the video description. And as always, thanks for watching.